It is finally here. Zwift just released the long-awaited update to their heads-up display. It brings some much-needed improvements, some customization, but a little bit of a disappointment as well. In this video, we will take a look how it performs in various riding conditions. By the way, it is a phased rollout, so if you don't have this update yet and you don't have access to the new HUD display, give it a day or two and you should be good. Let's get into it. So I have just started a free ride on the elevation evaluation route, and this is how the heads-up display looks when you are riding without any guidance, without workout, or not in a race environment. As you can see, the screen on the left got some improvement, and I can probably demonstrate it by increasing the power a little bit. Take a look what the colored bars are going to do. So before this change, we've only had your current power, your current cadence, and current heart rate on this screen. Now the array of information is much bigger. As you can see on the top, the current power still is intact, but next to it is that lightning bolt. And the lightning bolt changes colors according to in which zone are you currently riding in. Underneath that, you've got these colored bars, and these are your times in zones. Basically, when you are trying to do your endurance Z2 workout, what you will try to aim is to have this only gray or blue and not see any other colors. Very useful. Underneath, you've got four data screens instead of previous two. Previously, you've got cadence and heart rate over here, and now you've got four, and you can entirely customize which four are you going to use. And you can choose out of 7 possibilities, and we will take a look at which of those possibilities you might want to choose. But even if you used just the cadence and heart rate, you can still use 2 more, and that is super nice. The top display is more sleek, but pretty much shows the same thing that it showed previously. Looking at the minimap, I'm not sure that it got some big improvement. I'm not sure at this point, but I don't see anything much different. And here's also the biggest disappointment of this patch, because if you read the preview of the HUD change, we got a promise that underneath the minimap, there would be an elevation profile of the whole course you would be riding. So either the course you selected, like I selected elevation evaluation right now, or your race course and whatever you might be riding. And that is missing. And according to Zwift Insider, they've been told that they are still working on this feature and they didn't want to delay this patch for it. And it should be released in a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to that, because that's, in my opinion, the best change this HUD display could have gotten. And the fact that it is missing is disappointing to me. So let's hope that we will get it really soon. The data screens on the right don't have any change, I believe. It's still you and the riders around you with the same information like we used to have. So now we are approaching the grade, and we will take a look how the new user's interface behaves on the climb, because that has been a big selling point of this update. If you ride with a bike computer, you probably have access to some sort of climber feature, and this is exactly that. So let's start riding on the grade and see if this feature kicks up, and here it is. So here you can see what is, I believe, the next 800 meters. So you can see the next 800 meters of the climb, the elevation profile, the current gradient, and it takes quite a lot of space, to be honest, but I think this might be because the grade just shows your average power, since it acts as an FTP test. So on other climbs, it might not use as much of a screen, but this feature is really great, especially during racing, when you will want to basically manage your energy on longer climbs. So I have now switched to a race. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just was interested if the user's interface is any different in a racing environment. Doesn't look like so. The left and center user's display is the same, and the one on the right is the same old we already had with the same information provided. I have switched to a workout, and you can see that apart from a little bit of polishment and some graphical changes, there are no differences either. You still have the same information you had before, and to be honest, that's probably enough for workouts. Last but not least, I have entered the climb portal to see how the new HUD works in a climb portal, and it still doesn't bring anything new to the game, but ironically, the climber feature, which is one of the selling points of this update, doesn't look like it's working here. Did they not think about putting it here, or they think that the one on the top right is sufficient? Probably. I don't know if it's intended or if it's a bug, but for the full clarity, it's not there on the same spot as when you are riding a normal route. And now let's take a look how you can customize your heads-up display. You need to go to your settings, go to the third bookmark, which is called HUD, and there you can customize the 4 slots underneath your power. Originally, I thought we might be able to customize even the center portion of the new HUD, but either I was mistaken or that's still coming. I'm not sure right now, but these 4 data fields are what we can customize right now. And here are the options we can choose from: cadence, average power, heart rate, energy burned, power to weight, kilojoules, and TSS. It's a pretty brief list of data fields we can use, but in a way, I think it covers the most important stuff. On Zwift Insider's article, there has been a discussion what another data fields they might add in the future, and some of those, like the draft value or the W-ball, could be interesting. But for most people, I think these are sufficient. Obviously, the most important one of those and the most critical to use pretty much for everyone is going to be the average power, which is going to be very helpful if you are going to be doing free ride, and even in the races. If you want to better manage your effort, you probably have some idea what kind of power can you hold for specific amount of time. And up until now, if you wanted to track this, you needed to use your bike computer. Now you can select it as a data field, and I think that's really going to improve the quality of life of most riders. So I would definitely recommend using this data field to everyone. And after that, I think it's going to be a matter of personal preference. I think you'll definitely want cadence because, first of all, unless you are some sort of natural in gauging your effort, or how your cadence translates to your energy expenditure as well, you might want to see what sort of cadence you are riding at, because it helps you pretty much fine-tune where are you most efficient at. You probably want heart rate because while I think it's a little tricky metric to use, it's still very helpful to see how your body reacts to various efforts, to your current temperature and similar. So these three I would probably recommend to everyone. And then out of those latter four, I think it depends on what you do and what is your preference. TSS is definitely an interesting metric for those who do not track their training load elsewhere. So if you're like me and track your training load outside in some software or in some online platform like Intervals ICU or even Strava, you might not need to see this one. I even display it on my bike computer, but that's pretty much only because I have unlimited data fields there. But if you don't have any other option, you can use that. For me, energy burned in calories is interesting because obviously cycling is a way to lose some weight for me. And this is the only energy burned estimation that is accurate. So if it uses your power as a source for the calculation, it's accurate. So what I might do actually from time to time is to go to a ride without any plan and say, okay, today I will burn 700 calories. Up until now, I had to use my bike computer for that. Now you can see it directly in game, so it's very handy. Power to weight is sort of redundant, I think, because you already see that when you are riding on the right menu in the list of people around you and where you can see also yourself. And since you will be probably looking at that list anyway to see if there are any attacks, displaying it on the other side of the screen is probably not the best use of a space. And kilojoules is basically the same information as calories, only in a different form. So what I'm going to be using is definitely average power, my cadence, my heart rate, and my calories. So what are my impressions from this update? I think in general, it's a step in a really right direction. I think it was sewn by a hot needle. I have a feeling they wanted to release something to shut down the consistent questions when it's going to be released. Because for me, the most important feature is missing, and that's the elevation profile of the current route. But hopefully they will release it in a few weeks, like they said. And what I think would also be great if they offered a way to turn on and off some parts of the interface. Currently, you can turn off the whole HUD, but not the individual parts. And I find that the information about the segment best is pretty much useless for me, and I would much rather have the game environment instead of that. Also, a customization to the map would be nice, and obviously, if we could get more customizable fields, or at least more data fields to choose from, like the draft, it would be really nice. And for many people who are using Source for Strava, it could replace this add-on entirely. If you like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.